Participants are coming on board. Hey everyone, I'm going to give everyone a couple minutes to get in here, and we'll get ourselves started just in just a moment or two. So for those people that are already here, if you've got questions along the line, we're in Zoom. You've got the chat down at the bottom. I'm sure after a couple of years of COVID, everyone knows where all those things are now. But down in the bottom of your panel, there's a chat and there's a QA section there, and our ever wise and hardworking Anthony Heller will be jumping all over those questions and make sure that we get them to Corey as we move along here. We have allowed some extra time at the end of the session. I suspect that the session will go for about 45 minutes, and then from there we'll get into some QA. So again, as people are coming in, we'll give it about another 60 seconds or so, and we'll get ourselves started. Now, Corey, I know you're new to the webinar scene, but we usually have a new guy break into some song for a minute or so here as the crowd is getting in. So pick a really good jamming tune that you want to belt out, and we'll be anxious to hear your vocal stylings.
I will spare everyone my singing. The only ones that actually get to hear it are my kids when I tuck them in at bed.
Yeah, you know, every time I put that offer out, nobody jumps on it. It's strange.
I would imagine that that's something that would be unsettling for a lot of people.
I would think so. I keep hoping one of these days somebody's going to, and I'm going to be shocked by it. So I only have like about 3 jokes, and I use the same 3 every webinar. So that's all.
I'll try to practice for the next one.
All right, that's all we can ask, is that fighting spirit. All right, folks. Well, we're a couple of minutes in now, so I think we'll get ourselves started. I really appreciate you guys taking a little bit of time out of your schedule to join us here today. My name is Dan McKinnon. I'm the Canadian National Manager for Revisto, and with me today is Corey Clasen. This will be his show. He's a member of our implementation team based out of the southwest of the US, and Corey's specialty is working with our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing customers. He's got a lot of real world experience that he'll be drawing on to talk about our topic today, which is overcoming the technical language barrier with Revisto. Also in the session joining us is Anthony Heller out of our Central American Account Management team. And Anthony runs that territory, and he will be here addressing your questions. As I stated out of the gate, we've got a chat and a QA down in Zoom. If you guys have questions along the way that you want to ask as we're talking about things, please don't hesitate to ask. We want to make sure that this is useful information to you, and if there's anything we can give you that can help you have something to take away with, that would be great. So with that said, let's get ourselves started. As I said, we're talking today about overcoming the technical language barrier with Revisto. There's our emails right there on the side, so if you want to hit us up or say, geez, Dan, come up with a new joke, if that's what your message is, then by all means, feel free to reach out. So let's take a look at what we're talking about here today. So we're pretty much, we're into the introduction part of this. So actually, Corey, if you wouldn't mind, maybe say a few words about what your experience is and the framework of where you're coming from. I think that might be helpful to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So hey everybody, Corey Clasen. I come from an electrical background. I have 15 years in the trade. The last 6 of those were spent in the BIM VDC department for a large electrical contractor. And then I spent the last year and a half or so really working with and implementing and how Revisto was going to work inside of that company. So I come with a lot of experience, both in the field, twisting wrenches, carrying 4-inch rigid, trying to twist that into place, having those tough conversations with the design teams from the field side, and also having those tough conversations from the other side of the desk, trying to figure out ways to best communicate with our field team so that they had the correct information, the latest and greatest information, and that their input was heard. So that's where I come from, and I'm just super excited to be here at Revisto. And yeah, so let's get this thing kicked off.
That sounds good, Corey. Thanks, man. So what we'll do here in the rest of this agenda as we go along, we'll talk a little bit about Revisto, the integrated collaboration platform. There may be some people here that are new to Revisto or haven't seen it before, so I'll give you a little bit of a framework of kind of what we're all about. And then as we get into Corey's overview here, we're going to talk about communication as it relates to being a bottleneck in the course of getting a project out the door, talking about how to apply additional context for all project stakeholders through the course of bringing Revisto into a project, how bringing a tool like Revisto in will improve speed and accuracy of getting this information to the right people at the right time. And we'll talk about how all this information gets into the centralized platform and can be reviewed and submitted to people through our project review and commenting sections. And then additionally, how all of this is tied into our reports and dashboards. And again, as I mentioned, we'll have some time at the end to get into some questions and answers. So a couple things I'll talk about quickly. Revisto, we've been a commercial product globally now for 7 years. And over the course of that time, particularly as you look at it over the last 4 years, we really have put a lot of effort into our development. Every year we've got major tools and features that we bring into the product. And because we are a product that's sold to our end users very much give us feedback that dictates how we have lined up our roadmap and our path as we moved along. Just a couple highlights here in the last couple of years. We really made an effort to integrate data into our workflow in 2021 with all the metadata coming in, giving you an opportunity to create cert sets and make that useful data to the whole project team. Last year, of course, we released our clash automation, and that has been a transformative element of Revisto for our customers. And of course, just to be a hint in development, we have a lot of other new features moving out, not the least of which will be our issue tracker for the web, our mobile phone application, API integration for Power BI, as well as an open API coming down the road, and our advanced checklist for the field. One of the things that I like to highlight here when we're talking about Revisto is that our product is special, but our people are also very special. So our development team is always hammered out, and anyone who's been in Revisto knows exactly what we deliver in that product on a regular basis. That last slide kind of highlighted that a bit. But the reason I want to put this slide up is that one of the biggest things that we get for feedback when a customer starts working with us for a while is that we hire people like Corey, people who've been in the industry that have been working at a high level for a number of years. And we have these kind of people all over our global team. We can draw from all of their experience from a global perspective, but also here in North America specifically, we've got a very strong team that comes from MEP experience, from industrial experience, architectural, and of course, lots of construction experience on our team. So one of the things that we bring to the table with that is a level of consulting that comes into our relationship with our clients, the ability to come in and say that we recognize that Revisto is one tool in your technology stack, but our team understands how that stack works and understands the kind of deliverables that you have to deal with every day, and are able to speak that language with you and help you find a way to implement what we do into your workflow. One of the things, I just put this up, I'm not going to read any of this particularly. I just wanted to talk about this because as Corey's talking about the product, there may be some references to Revisto or Revisto Plus. Revisto Plus came out in December, and that very first feature for that is our clash automation. And we've added advanced clash automation tools as well as automatic location information into our Revisto Plus version of our product. And some of those features I mentioned that are on our development path for this year, the advanced BIM tools will be part of our Revisto Plus offering as we move through the year. And of course, there will be additional features and advancements that will apply to both applications as we move along. But I thought it's important to sort of set the stage on that as we move along here. So with that being said, you're not here to listen to me because I don't really have a whole lot of experience you can come into. And if I start talking, I'll just inevitably talk about hockey, I'm sure, and that won't get any of us anywhere. So with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. I'm going to turn things over to Corey, and Corey's going to talk a little bit about what we're here for today, and that's about overcoming that technology language barrier. It's all yours, buddy. Take it on.
Hey, thanks, Dan. Yeah, so with my background in the construction world, being able to communicate effectively and efficiently with the decision makers has always been something that's sort of been a bottleneck, or at least could be a bottleneck, as long as if you don't have the right people in the room, or you don't have the right information available, or maybe you just don't have enough information available for them. When I first started out, everything was in 2D. That's where I started my career. I was looking at drawings, installation, out in the field, having the foreman, lay me out for what exactly he wanted me to do. And inevitably I would, the routing that he wanted wasn't exactly the way that he wanted it to go. So I'd have to rip it out and redo it again. Well, I think all of us have had an experience like that, especially if you've worked in the construction field, out in the field, or potentially even just working in the VDC world, where we had a plan, we all agreed upon it, and then when it got finally installed in the field, it wasn't exactly how we had it modeled, and then we have to go back and do some rework. So communication really is the key, and being able to bring all of the correct decision makers together into one place to make those decisions, in my opinion, is extremely powerful. Our teams are very much made up today of very diverse groups of individuals, whether that's age range or what their location in the world, and again, being able to speak those languages as far as constructioners is concerned, is really of the utmost importance. And that comes to giving the context of where do you feel the most comfortable, where does that person feel the most comfortable to talk to. So inside of Revisto, it really is an integrated collaboration platform where we bring lots of things together into one place. As you can see, we do have the 3D model viewer, as well as 2D drawings that can be reviewed, and if that's where your comfort level is. Let's say you're a designer or a superintendent or a general foreman, somebody who's very comfortable in the 2D space. It's all inside of Revisto. All the communication is going to happen here. All of the markups and all of that can all happen in one place. One of the things that I found, if somebody doesn't feel very comfortable talking about, let's say I bring an issue, I'm in a BIM background, and I have an issue inside of this model that I need to get input from somebody in the field for, right? Well, they may not feel very comfortable in their skin talking in 3D, but being able to quickly go to 2D and go to, let's say, level two floor plan, right? We can go ahead and we can go and I'm comfortable talking in multiple different languages, because I come from an electrical background. I come from the field. I can do the 2D thing. I can do the 3D thing. So I have a way to put people at ease by talking in the way that they want to see the information. So that way, we're bridging that gap between the people who may not be so tech savvy to people who may be extremely tech savvy. So getting into the 2D to have those conversations, we can look at something together and see it here. We can also then take it into 3D, and we can look at that same exact issue with 2D and 3D together. And then we can have a conversation. Let's say somebody wanted to rotate this 90 degrees. Well, now we get it in the model. We can't see that. We can't do that because we have, this column, for example, that's going to be in the way. So that decision is going to be a poor decision, and we can have a conversation. We can track that conversation inside of our issue tracker, and have that conversation there, and then get resolution and move on. So that's really one of the big advantages of this, is bringing everybody together into one place. People can see the 2D drawing. We can look at the 3D space and make an educated decision with all the context in one area, in one space. So there are other things that, there are other members of our team that may not care about the 2D drawings, or they may not care about the 3D space. They care about performance, right? And that's where, we can get into reporting and dashboarding as well. And a lot of that information is going to come from, where we're actually tracking the issues down inside of our issue tracker. So lots of metadata is going to be involved in here. You're going to have your grid information levels, what room it's going to be in. So lots of different ways to get the information back out. That's not only usable for the people that are actually doing the installation, but the people who are doing the modeling, as well as, stakeholders that are involved in the project. One of the other things that I like to point out is, we have a very low barrier for entry and by that, I mean, if somebody is not at all comfortable or has very little exposure to the 3D world, we do a good job, I think, of bridging the gap for them to get into the 3D space. You may have noticed that I just overlaid this drawing directly onto the model. That's one way to get somebody into the model in model space and get some more context to what they're looking at. We also offer a jump to 3D, which is here. So let's say I wanted to go back to this table. I can just double click there, and now I'm in that space in the model, and I can look at that with all the context of everything that's surrounding it. So that's a good way to get the 2D people into 3D quickly, so that way it's not a huge hurdle to jump through. And again, just hit back to 2D, you're right back to your comfort zone. While we're in 3D, we do have properties, and we have object trees, which is things that our BIM and VDC professionals are accustomed to. So having all of the information here available to us to make a more educated decision on exactly what needs to happen, and maybe even what it is. Sometimes our modeling staff or people that we have doing the modeling have never installed a light, or don't even know what a junction box is. So being able to click on this information and show them more information, give them more context, is helpful. And obviously, teaching those that are drawing will help the field, and getting the people who actually have the experience level in the field, getting that information back to the people who are less experienced potentially. This is an easy way and basically a one-stop shop in order to get all that information going through the field. Few other options that we have. We also offer VR. A lot of clients are using virtual reality these days for initial design review, for spatial, just seeing what's around you, and making sure that things fit. Also within coordination, for coordination issues, maybe the designer doesn't necessarily know exactly why, what the problem may be. They could jump into VR. You can show them exactly where that's going to be. And then also bringing in scan data, which is, getting more and more popular in the industry from what I'm seeing. So being able to review scan data inside of the model data to see where maybe some installation deviations happened, and then have conversations around that. And then also, designers being able to come in and actually rotate this table and see what it's really going to look like. They can do that in VR for future design changes as well. The last thing that I want to point out, as far as helping to bridge the gap between differing levels of technology, I don't know what word that is, technology education level, I guess is the nice way to put it. I don't know, is our screen share feature. So we have this camera share feature, and what's really nice about this is if if we go into this, we can actually go to somebody's screen. So Dan sent me an invite right now. I will accept it. And now Dan is flying the model for me. I'm looking at what he's looking at. Let's say, I really quickly, he hit me up and he's like, hey, I really need you to look at this cable tray. It looks like it's going through a whole bunch of duct work. Let's have a conversation really quickly. We can do that. I could say, yep, great. I can move that up. No problem. Looks like I have the space to do that. And then even I can even request control back. And now, once Dan says yes to me, now I'm in control of the camera, and now he's seeing what I'm seeing. Even applying different appearance templates and things like that, all of that functions as well. So again, a real easy thing to do. A lot of times I use this feature for foremen who were stuck out in the field, that got stuck in a room and they couldn't figure out which way was out. They would message me, and then I would help them get to where they wanted to be, and then drop them off and go back to doing what I was doing. So lots of different ways to break down that entry barrier and really helping our people, be comfortable with the environment, saving the time, visualizing things in 2D, quantifying them in 3D, and then making intelligent, accurate decisions to move the project forward.
Some real excellent points there, Corey. And a couple things that I'll kind of sandwich in here as well is that, I think one of the things that we get as a feedback on a regular basis with Revisto is the fact that the user interface is easy. It's a non-destructive environment. We can use it the same way, whether we're on an iPad or whether we're in a desktop. And traditionally, what's happened with models is it's been in the hands of those 3D experts. But we know that there's 7 or 8 people for every 2 of those guys that can benefit from being able to have this in their hands. And as you just illustrated, as you walk back and forth between 2D and 3D, putting that in the hands of every member of our team so that they have the proper context to make decisions is what we're trying to do with Revisto. And that is part of that key, I think, of continuing to expand, getting that metadata, the 2D and the 3D all out into the rest of the users. And I think that as you move forward into your conversation here, people are going to have a better understanding of how that might benefit their teams as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's the hope, definitely. Let me get to here. So, I guess the next thing to talk about would be, the speed of the jobs that we have right now. Jobs are getting put together faster with less people, and that really puts a strain on making sure that communication is clear and concise, and that the right people are in the conversations, and getting around to where they need to be in order to have an effect on the jobs in a positive way. I really have never been a huge fan of an email workflow. I think lots of things can go wrong. I think lots of things happen. And I challenge anybody on this call to show me an inbox that has less than 100 unread emails. So again, information is sometimes just stagnant inside of an email inbox. And the other thing is that sometimes you get a screenshot and you get maybe a couple words about what's happening. One of the really nice things that is inside of Revisto is a more dynamic, context-driven, data-driven way to make decisions and to communicate. So you do get the screenshot. The screenshot is there, but we can also get into 3D as well, directly inside of our issue tracker. And we can look at a situation where you got a conversation needs to happen. The next thing is you can actually get into 2D as well, look at this on a 2D drawing, and have that, make sure that the parts and pieces are there. One of the other things that's really nice about this is if we go to this 2D and let's say we want to create an issue and we want to create a prefab, a package, for example. We can do that really quickly for your foreman. They come in, they mark it. This is going to be package 1. Right now I know, okay, good, that's done. I can go back into my issue tracker, and now I can see from this screenshot here, okay, they want all this to be package 1. Awesome. So then I can go into 3D, and then I can start making this package for them. I can start selecting the pieces that they said that they wanted inside of this package, and I can create an issue out of that. Okay, so that leads us back to my open issues, and oh, I'm in 3D. That's why it looks weird. All right, so so now we're having this contextual conversation about, okay, so do I have the right? Is this the right thing that you wanted inside of your package? Yes or no? All right, good. Approved. Approved package. Ready for proof out. And then we can go ahead and move this status to in progress, and then we can move it to the next person in the line. Right. So now they're notified, everything's ready to go, and they know what their next steps are going to be. So really dynamic, really, getting a lot of different information together and quickly and easily being able to put everything together in one place so that, nothing's going to get dropped through the cracks. Everybody's going to be notified of what they have. You can, use custom filters like I did here for my open issues. I only wanted to see ones that were open and in progress. If I went to my, current issues, obviously it's going to show everybody's current issues. So, lots of different ways to get the information out that you want to see. And again, I mean, obviously, there's not going to be a single problem ever inside of Revisto. That's also a good thing. I jest, jokingly, all jokes aside, I do feel that this is a much better workflow than trying to have a lot of different email chains going back and forth and potentially dropped information. And really having the ability to not only see a picture of it, but being able to actually get in and look at the model as well as review it on a 2D drawing. That's really powerful, and you can bring different people into the conversation and make sure that they're comfortable with the decisions that are being made.
Again, real good points, and particularly my favorite magic word as it relates to Revisto is context. And I think that's what you just really showcased here, was the fact that somebody hops into Revisto, and even if they're not super comfortable moving around in 3D, they can choose their filter, get to the issues that apply to them. And then from those issues inside of Revisto, they can go directly from that issue, see that screenshot they would have seen if they were getting an email, but they can quickly jump to 3D, and they can even page through all the 2D sheets that are related to that X, Y, and Z location that's inside of the project as well. So what you're doing is you're taking that person who may not have that technical acumen and getting them in a situation where they can get all the same context that you have, and you were able to share that with them in one fell swoop. And I think that's what makes a real added efficiency to quickly getting that information to them, with the hope that it's not going to make the coordination meeting, that we're going to get it resolved right inside of Revisto.
Yeah, absolutely. So from there, I think we've talked about, the field teams. We've talked about BIM. We really haven't talked about project management or, upper management information. And inevitably, I always got, at least once or twice a week, I'd have somebody reach out to me and say, hey, I need a status report from the week before. And then, I would have, before Revisto, I would have to go find the report, quantify what was done, update the report, and then send it back out to them. And sometimes that could take 20 minutes, other times it could take an hour, depending on, or more, potentially. Even a couple times it took me all day to get that report updated, because a lot of things happen, a lot of things change. But one of the other really awesome features that we offer is going to be our reporting. And this is obviously always going to open up on the wrong screen for me, because that's just, the nature of the beast. But inside of here, if we look, we can set up dashboards to really visualize kind of the status of the project, the health of the project, and what's really being done. So I just set up a couple, of dashboards that I would use if I were still coordinating. And one is a running 7-day status change. This is going to be a flow chart, essentially, of where items started from the week to today. So 7-day running. of what's happening on the project. You can see that a lot of good things are happening here. We don't have anything that's in progress going back to open, and you've seen a lot of things that are going from open to close. So it looks like things are going pretty okay. You can also break it down into this, where you could see who has the most, just a quick, easy visualization of who has what issues and kind of, the slice of the pie. If you were using this internally, you would be able to see, why is Alt House being, bogged down? Why does he have so many issues where, I don't have it quite as many, and even McCurdy only has one issue, right? So you can really use this to leverage your manpower to make sure that everybody is, that workload is being spread out across your team to be more effective and efficient. The next one I have set up right here is going to be, open issues by priority. And this is just going to show a quick list of what priority has, where you stand at in your priorities. And I did add in none here. And I like to do this because for me, if it's in the issue tracker, it should have a priority. That's my own personal opinion on the matter. So now I know that there's 24 of them that don't. I can go and filter and figure out, quickly what priority I need to assign to those. But it looks like we have some major issues, only a few blockers, which is nice, and even less critical issues. So looks like things might be going okay here. The next one I did was a timeline by assignee, and this is going to be for clashes. So I have a total number of clashes as a timeline, and then who those are assigned to. So it looks like I have 9 open and Vince has 3 open for a total of 12. So, and this is just based off of, one test that was ran. If it would combine all of your open tests, and you would have, some crazy other things. The next one that I have here, and I'll kind of get into the back end of this a little bit with this one, is issue timeline by status. So, we have open issues, in progress, solved, and closed. Obviously, the closed is getting up. Your open issues are going down, right? But let's just say we didn't even care about our closed issues. We can just go ahead and remove that line from the graph, and now you have a more direct, more less confusing thing to look at. And let's say we wanted to change this to red, and we wanted to color match what it was in the issue tracker, for example. We could do that as well. So lots of different things that we can do here. Lots of different ways to visualize the information, and then that these can be scheduled. You can schedule these out in PDF form. So once a week, you could send this to the project management team or whoever the vested person would be that needed to have this information. You could send this, and it would just automatically hit their inbox whenever you decided that you wanted that to happen. They don't even have to be invited to Revisto. They don't have to have access to anything. It could be, you could send this to anybody. You could send it to me if you wanted to. The next thing we'll go over is reports. These can come out PDF or into an Excel file. And I'll just go over here to show you what these look like. So they're going to be nice and pretty. This one is the clash report, and I did this one just specific to myself for anything that was a critical clash or didn't have any priority at all. So get a nice snapshot here. You can actually, these links do work. You can link to the issue tracker, directly from here. The next one I want to show is going to be the dashboard that we were looking at. This is what it's going to come out and look like. So, another easy way to get a snapshot of what, the health of the project. And again, this could be scheduled out just to go to whoever you want and whenever you want it to be there. Of course, I hit the wrong button. And then we also do, this would be the Excel file, and these do provide snapshots of the issue as well. So let's just say you just somebody just needed a report that they wanted to manipulate somehow inside of Excel. We offer that as well. So that's the reporting in a nutshell. Really, you get as creative as you want. As long as the metadata exists inside of the issue tracker, we can create a report, a dashboard based off of that information. So really, really robust way to get the information, again, into the hands of the people who may not necessarily care directly about this project or overseeing many projects at one time, so that they can have the information they need to make educated decisions.
Great stuff, Corey. And it's been one of those things that through my experience working here at Revisto is that those reports tend to be a really strong bridge between the field team and the VDC team from management perspective. For those people that are in BIM every day, jumping into a 3D application, opening up Revisto seems like it's second nature. It's just part of what you do every day as you're doing your job. But when we get into project managers and senior architects and VPs and members of the team that are trying to keep track of what's going on. Maybe they've got 3, 4 projects that they're managing right now at the same time. The reports are the way that they can keep their fingers on the pulse of what's going on inside of the project. They don't care that it's from Revisto or that it's coming from another source. The fact that they can get everything with, again, that magic word context coming to them. And then if they do have access to Revisto, the ability to jump directly from a particular issue that they're looking at in the reports into the model and being able to explore it really empowers a lot of those members of the team. Because one of those, sharing a little anecdotal story here, I had a client of mine that had an architect on their team that had never been Revit trained, hadn't really been doing much in terms of the project with their own computer power themselves for a very long time. And when they brought Revisto in, that ended up being the tool that let them not only go and present projects themselves to the owners and their contacts at the companies they were working for, but also gave them a level of transparency and a level of understanding what was going on in the project. Because sometimes the question they want to ask is of the person that would normally be the one they tap on the shoulder and ask that question to. Hey, I want to see what my BIM manager is up to right now. I want to see what's going on with this project. And I don't really want to ask anybody, I just kind of want to check it out. So what we're seeing here again is getting more of the people, more of the stakeholders involved in the communication, adding another level of transparency. These are the things that are the antidotes for bad schedules and missing deadlines and not being aware of what is happening before it becomes more than just pixels you're changing on a screen. Anything else you'd like to add here, Corey, in wrap up before we get into the questions section here?
No, I'm ready for some questions if anybody has them.
So Anthony, do we have some questions here in the chat?
Currently, we do not yet. I'm sure people are typing away. Yeah, nothing as of right now. Just a good comment on the mobile app, being able to have Revisto on your phone.
Yeah, that's been a requested item for quite some time. Revisto is the same robust application on an iPad that is on a desktop right now, but we of course recognize that not every team can afford to put an iPad Pro in the hands of every member of the team. So we've got our phone application well into development so that people will be able to jump into their project from their mobile phone, whether it's an iPhone or whether it's an Android phone this year, as well as incorporating our issue tracker for the web, which will allow you to get in on a browser to check on the status of your issues and be able to actually move those along through the life cycle of the issue.
Yeah, so we'll have one question pop up. Any tips on transferring a project from Revisto 4 to Revisto 5? So the answer to that would be talk to whoever your current, either if you know the account manager or the person that's like Corey. So every partner that we work with has a customer success manager, which is Corey's role, tied to that team. So if you know who that person is, whether it's Corey, David Gomez, David Ray, Sean Hester, Mark Peterson, apologize if I'm forgetting anybody.
Laura Sharp.
Yep, Laura Sharp. Yep. If you're working with any of them, then those would be the people you would reach out to, and they can actually walk you through that entire process. There are some very detailed documents on the help center of Revisto. So that's just help.revisto.com. Just type in Revisto 4 transition into the search bar, and some articles should pop up, giving you a lot of details step-by-step to get that transition done. And that is a great point, because Revisto 4 will be, I believe it's this September, right, Corey?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
soon. It's coming out very quickly.
Yeah, this September, yep, Revisto 4 will no longer be supported. So we can get all that stuff transferred out of Revisto 4 to Revisto 5. And if you do have projects in Revisto 4, for anybody listening, there's no cost. There's no additional cost to go from Revisto 4 to Revisto 5 or anything. You simply have to download the program and then you can move it to Revisto 5.
And it's a pretty seamless transition process to move from 4 to 5. I've not had a client come back to me after that transition and felt that they lost anything as a result of it. And the good news is that you get all the amazing features of 5, because Revisto 4 hasn't had anything around the metadata associated with it, hasn't had anything to do with the clash automation. So there's a lot of really amazing functionality that we needed to put on a new architecture to support it. So if that is a question for anyone here and they do need to need some help with that, please reach out to us and we'd be glad to walk you through it, and you'll find out it's not as painful as you might be thinking it will be.
Yeah.
Any other questions there, Anthony?
No, nope, not right now.
Okay, let me see. Actually, I see in the chat, we got, are we looking to make on-site project efficiencies tracking as an option on Revisto? I'm gonna, unless one of you guys want to jump on that. I'm assuming what it means is that that in the field being able to do deficiency reports in there. So, but one of the things that Revisto has in development right now is advanced checklists for the field and custom forms. So these will be coming down the road here as well, and that will give you the ability to do a lot more of the advanced field things that you might be using other field tools to do right now. Most of our major clients are using Revisto as part of getting the models out in the field and being able to communicate with the context of the 2D and the 3D. But we recognize that there's some things that we don't do right now, and being able to have an advanced efficiency report or QA/QC processes, and that every company is a little bit different. And that's a big part of why we're trying to create some advanced checklists with some custom capabilities inside it. So just keep watching our emails and our webinars as we move along. And as we get close to that, you're going to start hearing about it, because it's going to be one of the next major advancements in Revisto. And we've got another question here. When will we get the ability to download the recorded videos in Revisto? I assume you mean the recordings that you would record walkthroughs or something inside of Revisto. Yeah, it used to be in 4 that we had them embedded, and I think there was an issue with that with the new architecture in 5, and we've not developed a way to download those videos so that they're inside of Revisto right now. So I don't have an answer for you on that. I'm sorry. I don't know, Anthony or Corey, if you know if there's been any talk about bringing that functionality into 5.
Yeah, I believe it's when you record. The question is when you record the video in 5, and then are they able to pull it out
Right
of the platform? Yeah. No, I don't have any insight to that. I know that you just watch them in Revisto. But yeah, that'll be a good one to check on. We'll take a look at that, and we got your name and info here, so we'll get back to you on that one.
And I think we've got all those done. Any other questions before we let you guys get back to your day? Anything else that you'd like to throw a curveball at Corey to drive something live in Revisto? That's always fun. I always like to see those kind of things come, and I don't have any, because every time I throw them at him, he always seems to be able to hit them. So maybe one of you guys have a better pitch than I have. See, that's the problem. I come from a hockey background. That pitch is just slow and lousy, and everybody can see it, even my 7-year-old.
All right, I'd still be able to stop your knuckle puck too, so don't worry about it.
Oh, I like the confidence there. Are there more features that are going to be added to Clash automation, like comments? Yeah, I've heard that question before as well. I believe it's been pushed up to our wish list items, and I understand that resonates with those people that come out of other clash detection workflows, where you're running a clash detection and you want to make those comments as they pertain to the clash rather than just specifically in the issue, because you might have other people that are working in class 2. So we've heard that that's been communicated to us. I know it's on our wish list. I at this time, I don't know that there's been any development date that's been given to that item.
Yeah, and I think the good thing to note here is, clash automation is relatively new inside of Revisto, and we've already made some large jumps even in the last few months with some things that we didn't realize we needed to take into account, but we should have been glaringly obvious. So making sure and understanding, having these conversations are great, because it does help move the needle for future development for sure.
Yeah, and to that point, we do have an update coming out in the next, I think it's 3 weeks or so, something along that lines, 2 to 3 weeks. 5.1 will be coming out, and so you guys will see some updates on some of the Clash tools and Clash functionality in that one. I don't believe comments is one of them.
I don't think so, but there's a lot of stuff jammed in that next release.
Yeah.
The question of QR codes. This is again a request that we have gotten on a pretty regular basis. I know that also is on our wish list. And I guess one of the things I will let me answer the question first, is that as far as I know, it's not incorporated in the next release or anything, but I do know that has been one that comes up quite often for people to want to use their QR codes in the field and be able to scan those and bring them directly in. So, and Revisto does support URLs inside of our issue tracker. So I'm suspecting that technology would align to that pretty well. But I think the one thing that I'd like to kind of come back to is, as I shared the slide about our development history, we try really hard to put out a lot of great, relevant, high value features with each release that we put out. But at this stage in the game, maybe a few years ago, we would have development requests and then they get rolled into the product pretty quickly. But now, because we're working on such big pieces like the Clash automation piece, before that the data piece, the advanced checklist for the field, these are developments that require a good portion of our development team to work on. And there's certain parts of the software that kind of has to get frozen in time for a little bit while we get those big development done, because they're built on top of that foundation. So we're not as able to be maybe quite as nimble as we might have liked to be, because we've got these big picture items that we're working on. But I think every couple of months you're going to still see good, solid feature releases, and we try really hard to go through proper QA processes through it so that we give you the same stable product you expect from Revisto when it comes out. And we'll continue to listen to what you say. Our users are our customers. We're not a shareholding company, so we're a company that is answerable to our users. We want to make sure we give you value with every release. So just keep letting us know when you've got those kind of features. They make their way to the wish list. We don't ignore them. These things are gone over by Corey and the rest of the implementation team as they meet with our development team and figure out the best way to align those to other strategic roadmap items that we have. Got something else in the chat. Let's see.
I would also love to see QR codes.
Yeah, it's one of those that are, it has such huge value to make it a click and use sort of thing in the field, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't see any more questions here, guys. Again, feel free to reach out to us if you've got additional questions. If you guys are working in any of the areas we're just talking about, by all means, let us know. We can get Corey to get involved with conversation with you guys to look at your workflow, see how we can improve, add efficiency, get rid of some of those bottlenecks. But the other big part of this equation, I think, at the top level here, is the idea of trying to address those specific communication issues that we have, as we have a disparity of roles and skill sets that run through the course of a design and construction project. And at the end of the day, we all have the same goal, to be able to get that out with the least amount of issues as efficiently as we can, hit our deadlines, and make sure at the end of the day, we don't hate our team members for making our job harder. And this is part of what we want to do in Revisto, is improve that communication. Anything else that you'd like to close with, Corey, as we let everybody get back to their day?
No, well, I guess one thing I can say is, one of the biggest hurdles I had for myself was understanding that not everybody can understand exactly what I'm trying to say. So giving them more context, the more context, the better, the more training, the better, and the more exposure, the better. So, start there, and big things can happen from there.
Awesome. Well said, Corey. Well, thanks very much. Thanks, Anthony, for jumping in on those questions. And we, again, appreciate you guys joining us here today. And please don't hesitate to reach out. Revisto is always an evolving product, and we learn a lot from our customers. A lot of our workflows and most of our features are a direct result of the things we learn from you guys every day when we work with you. And we always appreciate that transparency for you. And it's always fun to work with you guys on the projects that you're delivering that knock us out every day as we see what you're doing with our products. So thanks again for joining us, and please reach out if we can be of any assistance. I hope you have a great day. Thanks again.
Thanks, everybody.
Good, everyone.